उनके विजिट को लेकर किस तरह की तैयारियां हैं?
उत्साह है, अयोध्या में जन जन में उत्साह है
जी।
भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जिनके कर कमलों से यहाँ शिला पूजन हुआ था और आज उस मंदिर के स्वरूप के निर्माण की प्रक्रिया जिसको आप 40% कह रहे हैं, मैं उससे भी ज्यादा मान रहा हूँ, पूरा होने की है। और वे दीपोत्सव में यहाँ पधार रहे हैं, भगवान राम लला के दर्शन करेंगे, निर्माण स्थल पर आकर के निर्माण को देखेंगे। हम लोग तो आह्लादित हैं।
ये बहुत ही सुखद पल कहेंगे इसको हम, क्योंकि मैं उस दौर में भी आया था जब यहाँ पर मंदिर तो था लेकिन वो मस्जिद के नुमा था, लेकिन आज जब भगवान का भव्य मंदिर का निर्माण देख रहा हूँ तो अंदर से एक प्रसन्नता है हर तरीके से। और जो 100 करोड़ हिंदुओं की आस्था है भगवान राम के प्रति, उनकी आस्था आज चरितार्थ हो रही है भगवान के मंदिर के रूप में। जो 2024 जो डेट इन लोगों ने दिया है 14 जनवरी को भगवान गर्भगृह में पधारेंगे, तो इस दिवाली से बड़ी दिवाली वो होने वाली है।
More than 400 workers toil away every day except on days when it rains. But work on the superstructure continues despite the rain.
परकोटा के अलावे अभी मंदिर के लिए जो एसोसिएटेड फैसिलिटीज हैं, जैसे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फैसिलिटी, फायर की बिल्डिंग हमको बननी है, वाटर सप्लाई के लिए हमको टैंक बनाने हैं, इसके बाद इलेक्ट्रिकल सब स्टेशन हमको बनाने हैं, मेन रिसीविंग सब स्टेशन बनाने हैं, देन पिलग्रिम फैसिलिटी सेंटर हमको करने हैं जहां पिलग्रिम फर्स्ट इंटरेक्ट होंगे, जहां पे उनकी स्कैनिंग होगी। देन इसके बाद आपको कुछ म्यूजियम का बनने हैं, इसके बाद एसटीपी और पब्लिक टॉयलेट्स वगैरह सब जो बनने हैं। तो सभी एरिया आइडेंटिफाइड हो गए हैं किस किस लोकेशन पे, और उनके भी काम सर्वे वगैरह का काम शुरू हो गया है, उनके डिजाइन ड्राइंग वगैरह सब अप्रूवल हो गए हैं और उनका भी काम साइमल्टेनियसली हम लोग शुरू कर रहे हैं।
Away from the temple site, many are working behind the scenes for the Dipotsav, like these shops selling clothes for Ram Lala. And even Muslim artisans are making the jhanki.
ये ऐसे ही आएगा, यहाँ से एक आदमी बैठ के चलाएगा, ये आएगा पर ये माला पहनाएंगे इसे।
अच्छा
जी।
तो यहाँ पे बैठ के आदमी पूरा उसे मूव करता रहेगा
जी।
सारे लोग मुस्लिम हैं या कुछ और लोग भी हैं?
नहीं, सब लोग मुस्लिम हैं।
मुस्लिम लोग हैं
जी।
देखिए, राम का वो काज होता है जहाँ धर्म आड़े नहीं आता। मुस्लिम लोग देखिए राम की सेवा कर रहे हैं, झांकियां बना रहे हैं, राम के चरित्र को ज्यादा बेहतर तरीके से बयां करने की कोशिश हो रही है। देखिए ये जो झांकी है, कैसे रावण का वध हुआ उसको चित्रित कर रही है। हनुमान जी राक्षसों का संहार कर रहे हैं और राम जी ने अपना बाण रावण की तरफ किया हुआ है। देखिए,
The last time Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Ayodhya, it was for the Bhumi Pujan that paved the way for the Ram Mandir construction. And now he is returning to celebrate the Grand Dipotsav. With Meenakshi and Pranesh in Ayodhya, Times Now.
What has changed really, and I've been speaking to people here on the banks of Saryu in Ayodhya, people say that Prime Minister Modi and under his leadership there has been a revival of faith, heritage and culture. I have some people here. आप मुझे बताइए कि प्रधानमंत्री संडे को यहाँ आने वाले हैं, लेकिन आज वो केदारनाथ में थे, इससे पहले वो महाकाल में थे जी। कैसे देखते हैं आप इसको?
बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि हमारे देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री हैं जो ऐसी अपने सनातन धर्म को इतना ऊपर उठा रहे हैं। आज से पहले इतने प्रधानमंत्री बने लेकिन किसी ने भी इतना सनातन धर्म को ऊपर नहीं उठाया जितना उन्होंने उठाया। बहुत अच्छा लगता है और हमें अपने हिंदू होने पर गर्व उन्हीं के अंदर देखने को मिलता है और हमको बहुत अच्छा लगता है। इसलिए हम बहुत क्या बोलते हैं, गर्व महसूस करते हैं हिंदू होने पर।
जी, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
जी, बहुत अच्छा लगता है। हमारे मोदी जी आते हैं तो हम बहुत खुश होते हैं।
हमको भी बहुत अच्छा लगता है, मोदी जी आ रहे हैं हमारे अयोध्या में, हम बहुत खुश हैं और हम मोदी जी के बहुत बड़े फैन हैं। मोदी जी काम करते हैं।
क्या सबसे अच्छा क्या लगता है आपको मोदी जी
वो अयोध्या में
बोलते हैं?
अयोध्या बोलने का ढंग, उनके बोलने का स्टाइल, सबसे अच्छी चीज है एवरीथिंग। ऐसा मोदी जी तो कुछ ऐसा नहीं जो अच्छा ना लगे, सब कुछ अच्छा लगता है, सब कुछ अच्छा है। और सबसे बड़ी चीज है सनातन धर्म को इतना ऊपर उठाने।
और ये जो आपने कहा सनातन धर्म का रिवाइवल हुआ है, बिकॉज so much has changed under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. The places of Hindu heritage that had lost glory are being now revived. Here is a special report that Times Now has put together.
Traditional chola dora gifted to him by the Chamba women of Himachal, PM Modi reached the doors of Baba Kedarnath. The Kedarnath temple, a symbol of Hindu Astha, has been given a grand makeover over the years. From unveiling a 13-foot-high statue of Guru Adi Shankaracharya among the Kedarnath mountains, to launching redevelopment projects in the grandest manner, the temple tourism has been restored to its lost glory.
देश की आजादी के 75 साल पूरे होने पर मैंने लाल किले से एक आह्वान किया है। ये आह्वान है गुलामी की मानसिकता से पूरी तरह मुक्ति का। क्या जरूरत पड़ी है कहने की? ऐसा इसलिए क्योंकि हमारे देश को गुलामी की मानसिकता ने ऐसा जकड़ा हुआ है कि प्रगति का हर कार्य कुछ लोगों को अपराध की तरह लगता है।
The blueprint had been prepared much in advance. The Modi government's drive to revive temples across India is believed to be a concerted effort central to the idea of New India steeped in glorious traditions. It all started with the revival of the Somnath temple in Gujarat. Considered to be among the 12 Jyotirlingas of India, the Somnath shrine received special attention since Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. After he became the Prime Minister, the entire old temple complex was holistically redeveloped, becoming a haven for pilgrims and tourists.
आस्था को आतंक से कुचला नहीं जा सकता। इस मंदिर को सैकड़ों सालों के इतिहास में कितनी ही बार तोड़ा गया, यहां की मूर्तियों को खंडित किया गया, इसका अस्तित्व मिटाने की हर कोशिश की गई, लेकिन इसे जितनी भी बार गिराया गया वे उतनी ही बार उठ खड़ा हुआ।
On 13 December 2021, the 700 crore rupees Kashi Vishwanath project was inaugurated. Known to be the Prime Minister's dream, 40 temples restored to their original glory, with 23 new buildings added to the newly constructed structure. It was a historic moment for Hindus all over the world. The city of Kashi turned into the heart of Hindu Astha.
ऐसे लोग भी थे जो बनारस के लोगों पर संदेह करते थे। कैसे होगा? होगा ही नहीं, यहां तो ऐसे ही चलता है। ये मोदी जी जैसे बहुत आके गए। काशी तो काशी है, काशी तो अविनाशी है।
Sandalwood and bhashmo on his forehead, with a Rudraksh mala in his hand, PM Modi inaugurated the majestic Mahakal corridor in the ancient city of Ujjain. The Shaivite devotional chants of Har Har Mahadev and Jai Shri Mahakal reverberated along the corridor, instilling a sense of Hindu pride. Over the last 8 years, there have been efforts to assuage the wounds inflicted on Hindu Astha over centuries. In August 2020, in a groundbreaking ceremony, the foundation stone of the Ram temple in Ayodhya was laid, fulfilling the long-made promise of 3 temples.
राम मंदिर के निर्माण की ये प्रक्रिया राष्ट्र को जोड़ने का उपक्रम है। ये महोत्सव है विश्वास को विद्यमान से जोड़ने का।
The Ram Janmabhoomi has been at the center of conflict for many years, but the shackles of the past have been broken. PM Modi will once again visit Ayodhya, with his Deepavali bringing a new glimmer of hope and light. Bureau Report, Times Now.
While laid the foundation stone for the construction of the Grand Ram Temple, Prime Minister Modi had said, and I am quoting him now, that once complete, Ram Mandir in Ayodhya will be a symbol of unity, peace and brotherhood, something that Bhagwan Ram stood for. आचार्य जी, जाते जाते इतना जो अब बदलाव आपने सुना, लोग यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं, देश में बात कर रहे हैं, विदेश में बात कर रहे हैं, सबसे बड़ी बात जो आपको लगता है वो बदली है?
सबसे जो बड़ा बदलाव हुआ है वो एक जो सोया हुआ हिंदू था उसको जगाने का काम मोदी जी और योगी जी ने किया है। इसी के साथ जय जय श्री राम, जय जय श्री राम।
That was a special broadcast. We'll continue to keep getting you action from Ayodhya. Stay tuned to Times Now.
The most pressing issue, the most informed minds, a free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में।
नहीं हेममान
कन्हैया जी ने भक्त चाहिए जी, राधे राधे। कल राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become. मथुरा के जो सांसद बनना चाहेंगे उसको तो आप बनने नहीं देंगे। आप दिमाग में सबको ऐसा डाल के रखेंगे फिल्म स्टार ही बनेगा। आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में।
नहीं हेममान
कन्हैया जी ने भक्त चाहिए जी, राधे राधे। कल राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become. बहुत अच्छी बात है।
आपका क्या विचार है इस बार? आप
मेरा विचार क्या मैं बताऊं? मेरा विचार भगवान के ऊपर है। लॉर्ड कृष्णा विल डू इट।
तो मैं तो देश की सेवा के लिए ही पैदा हुई हूँ और मैं देश की सेवा करना चाहती हूँ। और क्यों नहीं, हमारे मोदी साहब, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी चाय बनाते बनाते प्रधानमंत्री जी पीएम बन सकते हैं, तो मैं बॉलीवुड में काम करते करते सीएम क्यों नहीं बन सकती हूँ? डेफिनेटली मैं बनूंगी। आप सबका आशीर्वाद चाहिए। तो 2024 में अब आप मुझे चुनाव लड़ते हुए देखेंगे। किसके अपोजिट, ये सरप्राइज है।
Supreme Court has agreed to hear a fresh plea moved by a women's organization challenging the remission of sentence and the release of convicts in the 2002 Bilkis Bano gang rape case. Hours after surrendering in court in the Arms Act case, gangster-turned-politician Mukhtar Ansari's son, Abbas Ansari, gets bail. PDP President Mehbooba Mufti has been served a notice to vacate her official bungalow in the high-security Gupkar area in Srinagar. The hearing on the bail plea of Shiv Sena Uddhav camp leader and MP Sanjay Raut has been adjourned. Next hearing will be heard on November 2. In a corruption case filed by CBI, former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh's bail plea has been rejected by a special CBI court. A special magistrate court in Mumbai has directed the police to execute a non-bailable warrant against Amravati MP Navneet Rana and her father in a case of alleged caste certificate forging. After doctors' protest over SOPs for streamlining the medical care arrangements for sitting members of parliament, AIIMS withdraw a letter giving special treatments to MPs. Bombay High Court has instructed all the city authorities to register cases against those obstructing civic officials from acting against menacing stray dogs.
there was a big song and dance about internet being cut. Okay. Now, if you have reached a stage where you say an internet cut is more dangerous than the loss of human lives, then what can I say?
India's illegal and unilateral actions of 5th August 2019 to change the internationally recognized disputed status of Jammu and Kashmir and to alter the demographic structure of the occupied territory further undermined the prospects of peace.
There was a big song and dance about internet being cut. Okay. Now, if you have reached a stage where you say an internet cut is more dangerous than the loss of human lives, then what can I say? So the fact is, if you look at the whole 370 issue, I mean, it's a fundamental.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It seems the Congress party is on an overdrive to insult Hindus and the idea of Hinduism. I'm saying this because veteran Congress leader and former UPM Mantri Shivraj Patil has linked jihad to the Bhagavad Gita now. Shivraj Patil said that Lord Krishna gave lessons and updesh on jihad to Arjun in a part of the Gita during the Mahabharata. Even went on to say that the concept of jihad was not just in Islam but also in the Bhagavad Gita and exists even in Christianity. When Times now confronted Shivraj Patil, instead of apologizing, an angry Shivraj Patil continued to defend his statement. Listen in.
जहाद की बात भी कब आ जाती है? जहाद की बात तब आ जाती है जबकि सारे मन के अंदर स्वच्छ विचार होने के बाद भी, अगर उस प्रकार से काम करने की कोशिश करने के बाद भी अगर कोई वो समझता नहीं है, वो नहीं करता है, तो कहा जाता है को आपको अगर शक्ति का उपयोग करने का है तो वो करना चाहिए। और वो सिर्फ कुरान शरीफ के अंदर नहीं है, वो महाभारत के अंदर जो गीता का जो भाग है उसके अंदर भी श्री कृष्ण की अर्जुन को भी जिहाद की बात ही कहते हैं। और ये सिर्फ ये कुरान शरीफ में और गीता के अंदर है ऐसा नहीं है, मगर जो क्रिश्चियन लोगों ने लिखा है, जैसे कृष्ण ने भी लिखा है। आप बताओ क्या है?
आपको मैं सुना,
आप बनाओ, अभी सुनाओ, ये निकालो बाजू। You call Duryodhana as jihadis. You call Hitler as jihadis. The man who killed Mahatma Gandhi as jihadi. But you can't call Hindu Dharma as jihadis. कृष्ण का काम जिहादी नहीं है। कृष्ण का काम अगर अच्छी चीज करने के लिए वो तैयार नहीं है, बुरी चीज करने के लिए तैयार है और हथियार का इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं, तो तुमको करना पड़ेगा। और उसको हम जिहाद बोले तो क्या है, उन्होंने इसी के अंदर बोला है, जिहाद बोले तो क्या, निकाल डालो उसके अंदर से।
ये भी कह रहे थे कि मुस्लिम जो करते हैं, जो जिहाद करते हैं,
आई डोंट वांट टू टॉक टू यू, दिस इनफ।
The Congress, meanwhile, has distanced itself from Shivraj Patil's statement and said that his remarks were unacceptable. The BJP calls it Congress Party's Hindu hatred, and Patil's statement has been condemned unequivocally from all quarters. Listen in to the political slugfest.
कांग्रेस पार्टी में फतवा फैक्ट्री की फ्रेंचाइजी चल रही है। देश की सनातनी संस्कृति से जुड़े सवाल होंगे तब तक कांग्रेस उल्टी बात करती है।
What is this with senior Congress leaders? Saffron terror. A complete false bogey was created by Rahul Gandhi and his close advisors. It's shocking. Completely condemnable.
Killing infidels. People who don't follow your religion, you kill them. Whereas Lord Krishna told Arjuna to follow dharma. There's a difference between dharma and jihad.
Shivraj Patil, who had once coined Hindu terror, saffron terror, has now compared Gita, the Updesh given by Shri Krishna to Arjun during the Mahabharata, to jihad. This is an affront, but it is not surprising.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah slammed Shivraj Patil and took the Mahabharata reference to give Patil a fact check over his Gita jihad. Listen in to Amit Shah.
महाभारत के शांति पर्व में अध्याय 15 में एक श्लोक है जिसका अर्थ है अपराधियों को नियंत्रण में रखने के लिए न्याय की व्यवस्था हर प्रभावी एवं सफल शासकीय तंत्र का महत्वपूर्ण अंग होती है। न्याय ही है जो समाज में सुशासन सुनिश्चित करता है। न्याय अगर रात्रि के समय में भी जागता है तभी नागरिक और समाज निर्भीक होते हैं और एक अच्छे समाज का निर्माण होता है।
And that brings me to the legitimate question we are asking on the NewsHour tonight. Is insulting Hindu equal to Congress's standard operating procedures? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the NewsHour tonight, Govt Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP, Rahul Ishwar, activist, Shantanu Gupta, author, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress party, Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist. But my first question goes to Mr. Govt Bhatia. Mr. Govt Bhatia, this is not the first time that the Congress party has said something that is tantamount to hurting sentiments of those who follow Hindus and in fact are Hindus at heart, and especially given the fact that we are in the festival season, in the run-up to the biggest Hindu festival of Deepavali. Do you think Mr. Shivraj Patil has once again done exactly what the Congress does time to time, whether it is the Astitva of Ram, who they called a fictional character, or today saying that Lord Krishna gave Updesh to Arjun on jihad?
Navika, first and foremost, as a devout Hindu, as a citizen of the country, such communal statements which are equal to spewing venom against the Hindu community, and I'll not mince my words tonight, I just want to say also shows the core of the Congress party today. They are a party that has taken the contract to hurt the sentiments of the majority community, that is the Hindu community in India. And it is shameful that it is done time and again, as you rightly said. They have become habitual offenders, and this is only possible when there is a sinister design and the approval of the topmost leadership. Having said that, if such a statement is made which will not be tolerated by a member of any community or religion, what is the remedial action taken by the Congress? Not a condemnation, not throwing out the person out of the party, and the inference can only be one, that this has been done after the approval of the new president, Mr. Kharge, who himself, and I must lay emphasis on his statement, once said, and I have this picture with me, अगर मोदी जी पावर में आते हैं तो भारत जो है वो सनातन राष्ट्र बन जाएगा. ये है खड़गे जी. खड़गे जी प्रेसिडेंट बनते हैं और the statement of Shivraj Patil is made. So I am assuming that this has been done by their approval. My second point is, and this is more as a citizen, and I'm sure even people like Tehseen, who generally disagree with us, will agree. You may highlight the good things about a religion and a bad thing about a religion. Worldwide over, we know that people are talking about Islamic terrorism. You don't have to create an artificial equivalence like they did by saying Hindu terror, when there is none, because we all know that Hinduism is the most tolerant religion in the world. And second, why did you say that Lord Krishna spoke about jihad? Are you so well versed with the religious text of Hindus as well as Muslims? No, you are not. You were a home minister, and when there was 26/11 attack, you were not even well versed to retaliate. Rather, you were changing your bandgalas 5 in 2 hours, and you couldn't respond on time. So I would say this with some responsibility. This venom spewing exercise should come to an end, and as a Hindu, I condemn the statement of Shivraj Patil, and people of India will teach him a lesson that the Congress party will never forget.
Well, Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you, is it a coincidence? Hindu terror coined by the Congress party, questioning the existence of Ram by the Congress party in an affidavit in the Supreme Court, and today the statement, several comments in between that I haven't really referred to, but once again with Shivraj Patil coming out and speaking about Lord Krishna teaching Arjun about jihad. You know, this really takes things too far. Is it really the Congress party's agenda that to prove their secular credentials, they have to hurt Hindu sentiment? Is that become the standard operating procedure for the Congress party?
Namaskar, Navika ji. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Namaskar to all my fellow panelists, and in advance a happy Diwali, because I may not bump into some of you all in Diwali. So 2 or 3 points, like you rightly pointed out, Navika ji, that this is the pious festival time of Diwali. And my personal opinion is such kind of comments, loose comments, particularly if you're not well versed with religion, either Hinduism, Gita, or with the Quran, you should stay out of it. I'm very clear on this. But here's my challenge to Gaurav Bhai, and I'm going to give this challenge because I have a lot of respect for Gaurav Bhai. What Shivraj Patil said, a retired politician of the Congress, if it's an official version of the Congress, I tell Gaurav Bhai, Amit Shah ji, rather than doing man ki baat, should do kaam ki baat. File 153, 295A, arrest the man. Why aren't you arresting him? I'll tell you why they're not arresting him. Now hear me out. They're not arresting him because Sangh terror, not Hindu terror, was coined by R.K. Singh. Who is he? He's a minister in their government. Mahesh Sharma on the floor of the House said, Ma Sita ka koi astitva nahi. There is no evidence of Ma Sita. He's a member of parliament. Naresh Agarwal said filth on the floor of the House. Arun Jaitley ji thought up and said this man should be arrested. It was not in parliament. He's today in the BJP. The BJP has only fooled Hindus. What did Dilip Ghosh ji say about Ma Durga? You know it, Navika ji, and I know it. The BJP have no right to speak about Hindus. You have Rahul here, you have Lokesh here, you have Ms. Mishra here. The BJP only want to con this country. I think what Shivraj Patil said was reprehensible. He should shut up. He should not talk. And I'm using these words of responsibility. And Jairam Ramesh has put out the official stand of the Congress. And I've tweeted this, that please stop talking Shivraj Patil ji, and please stop clarifying. Just stop talking. But the BJP put their money where their mouth is. Ask Amit Shah to act. Arrest him. Arrest him now. I dare him. I dare Amit Shah.
Tehseen Poonawalla, I find it extremely amusing that you question the credentials of the BJP when Shivraj Patil made this statement on a dais full of congressmen at the release of Mohsina Kidwai's autobiography, and nobody contradicted him there. And he was asked again, he still stuck to his guns. And today you may say he is retired, but whoever retires in the Congress party, he has been the closest to, the powers that be in the Congress party. And even now with Mr. Jairam Ramesh's official comment, have they really taken any action? Have they, and can they distance themselves from a former home minister, from a former deputy speaker representing the Congress party? Gaurav Bhatia, you know, just a statement on Twitter, is that enough to assuage the hurt feelings of the Hindus, Gaurav Bhatia?
Navika, I want to just retort to what Tehseen said. First of all, look at the statement of Jairam Ramesh. It is not coming from the official handle of the Congress party, 1. 2, it doesn't condemn these statements. It doesn't even uses the word condemn the statement of Shivraj Patil. And third, why did you not sack this retired politician? And Navika, last that I checked, you know, at 95, the late Motilal Vora was made the interim president. You never know, Shivraj Patil might also become interim president. So there is no retirement in the Congress. Not even Sonia Gandhi has retired. Second, Hindu terror. You know, R.K. Singh was Secretary of Home Ministry. But who was the minister? Minister was Sushil Kumar Shinde. So, you know, under the scheme of the constitution, Tehseen is a very learned guy. He often visits the Supreme Court also. It is the minister that dictates and approves every policy of the government, not the secretary. You know, he can override the decision of the secretary. And third, you know, I would only say this, Navika, there are stronger statements of Rahul Gandhi who said Hindutva teaches how to kill Sikhs and minorities Muslims. Now, Tehseen, would you say the same, that FIR should be registered against him? And you are such a proactive person when it comes to ensuring justice for all. Why don't you give a complaint in the police station against Rahul Gandhi? 153A, 295A, hurting the sentiments of the Hindus. Please go ahead. And second, Rahul Gandhi was the one who said, boys visit temple to outrage the modesty of girls. Should there be an FIR against him? Would you come forward? Because it is actually hurting our sentiments.
The Dattatreya called Brahmin Rahul Gandhi, you know, very often has made these statements. Tehseen Poonawalla. Why will you not drag him to court? Because you go to court at the drop of a hat.
Forget court, Navika ji. I am telling you this on your show. The day I am Home Minister,
people in jail. There is no doubt in my mind that I will throw them in jail.
Well, then we'll have to wait for Tehseen Poonawalla. We'll have to wait for Tehseen Poonawalla to actually become the Home Minister of this country before any action will be taken. Rameshwar, how does that sound to you?
I really hope Tehseen ji really becomes something influential and great, because across spectrum, he is a person who always maintains a balance, dignity and reaching out to their spectrum. So I really hope all the best for his career, and I really wish him, because he was very supportive during Shabarimala agitation and all. Now coming back to our main question. See, the hallmark of pseudo-secularism is intellectual insincerity. And I'm sorry to say, senior like Shivraj Singh ji has total intellectual insincerity. This is just like Sanjay Jha ji, you know, who was in one of the debates saying, I am so secular that I will keep Allah's photo in my prayer room. So I humbly asked him, sir, is there any photo of Allah? So he, you know, escaped that question. This is mere posturing. See, this is just playing to the gallery. You know, saying something so that you can earn some brownie points. See, I'm a hardcore Hindu-Muslim unity person. You know, people like Shantanu ji usually rebuke me for, you know, unnecessarily trying to connect every Hindu-Muslim unity issue and saying that we should have pluralism. But please show some sincerity and intellectual honesty while you deal with things. This shows Shivraj Singh ji neither knows Gita, neither knows Holy Quran. He neither knows Bhagavad Gita and the nuances of it, which is a very philosophical test. He neither knows the theological concept of jihad, because jihad has jihad al-Aqsar, jihad al-Akbar, and many nuances. That's a different concept altogether. But Arjuna and Sri Krishna are in a totally different philosophical world. Sri Krishna is teaching in-depth spiritual secrets or in-depth philosophical nuances to his disciple Arjuna, using many metaphors, maybe using a historical context too. But unnecessarily connecting the word jihad is pseudo-secularism. Let us be honest about it. This is intellectually dishonest pseudo-secularism just to earn some brownie points and show that you are secular. See, I am secular. I am trying to bring jihad and Sri Krishna together so that, you know, some of the people can feel good. This is a very insincere attitude. A senior leader, a former Home Minister of India, should not have the senior attitude. And I totally agree with Tehseen Bhai that somebody in Congress party should stand up and tell, please shut up. This is absolute nonsense that you are talking.
Lokesh Jindal, the question here is not about whether the Congress is distancing itself from Shivraj Patil or not. The fact of the matter is that this is a thought process that has gone deep into the blood of the old congressmen, because appeasement and this vote bank politics of appeasing the Muslims has become so much of a second nature that you don't even realize what you are saying. When you say Hindu terror, you don't realize what are the facts of the matter. When you say Krishna teaches Arjuna all about jihad, you know, what are you really saying? What are you really saying? People of this country will ask you this question कि ये हो क्या गया है? और हुआ वही है कि आपके ब्लड स्ट्रीम में अपीजमेंट का जो वैक्सीनेशन है वो घुस चुका है इतना ज्यादा कि आप जब आपके ऊपर कुछ मुंह खोलने का वक्त आता है आप सीधा इसी तरफ जाते हैं जो आपको अपीजमेंट ने सिखाया है. लोकेश जिंदल, इज दिस एक्सेप्टेबल?
In Ramayan Balkand, there is a chaupai which states that Jaki rahi bhavna jaisi prabhu murat dekhi tin taisi. A person perceives everything as his own belief system. Now, so
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is Mr. Shivraj Patil believing this because he is more Muslim than Hindu? He knows more about Muslim scriptures than Hindu scriptures?
No. At the most, Mr. Patil was aiming at reaching out to Sarva Dharma Sambhava.
By jihad.
That the truth.
By jihad.
The truth is there in all religions.
By quoting jihad.
Wrong choice of words.
No, sorry. Sarva Dharma. Sarva Dharma.
His aim was to draw one universal truth amongst all religions.
And the universal truth is the truth of jihad. Lokesh Jindal, I'm shocked by the statement that you make. Is the universal truth that you are referring to the universal truth of jihad? Rahul Ishwar, is this the universal truth? That love has to be spread through jihad? Is that the universal truth that Lokesh Jindal is talking about?
Lokesh, just one submission, Lokesh. Just one submission. If he wants to quote, he can quote Lakum Dinikum Waliyadeen, which can be broadly interpolated and said that your belief is yours, mine is mine. Let us harmoniously assist. There are some harmonious verses, you can take that, but it shows insensitivity and basically they want to whitewash the word jihad. That's the core. Let us be honest about it.
Shantanu Gupta.
There is one thing.
They are talking about Sarva Dharma Sambhavna. Sarv Dharm Sadbhavna through jihad, the teaching of jihad. कि भाई गीता में जिहाद का रेफरेंस है. मुझे बता दीजिए कि या तो इन्होंने गीता नहीं पढ़ी, या ये हिंदू नहीं है, या इन्हें बिल्कुल धर्म का ज्ञान नहीं है. इनमें से what is right?
Can I come in, Navika?
1 minute.
Navika, Shivraj Singh Patil ji has made a horrendous comment while defending. A lot of panelists are going even beyond the limit. Taliban says whatever they're doing is doing under jihad. ISIS says whatever they're doing under jihad. Osama bin Laden used to quote that I did 9/11 as a jihad, and Shivraj is saying all this jihad has happened because of the teachings of Gita. This is what Congress and Shivraj Singh Patil is saying. And Tehseen Singh is a retired politician. I just saw the picture of the book launch. Just ask my cameraman to see the picture of the book launch, where I see Shashi Tharoor, where I see Mani Shankar Iyer, where I see Sushil Shinde. All of these are retired politicians of Congress? I guess not. So this seems like an official statement. And see the contrast. See the contrast.
On what basis you say?
Navika, allow my time. Just 20 seconds more. Navika, allow me 20 seconds more, please.
I'll give you time to respond. Allow Shantanu Gupta to make his point and I'll come back to you. Yes, Shantanu.
Just see the contrast on 23rd of October, 2 days from now, in Ayodhya. Choti Diwali will be celebrated. Narendra Modi will be there, Yogi Adityanath will be there, and 10 lakh diyas will be lit. Will be a new Guinness Book of World Record. This is one side. Other side, Congress has trained his leaders that okay, start disrespecting Hindus and keep saying your Hindu terror, Saffron terror. Ram was not there. Ram is not actual. जो लड़के मंदिर जाते हैं, लड़की छेड़ छेड़ते हैं. Start all of this. Keep saying Gita teaches jihad. So this is the contrast which is very evident to people now.
I want to ask you, Lokesh Jindal, jihad in the Gita. So Osama bin Laden Gita parkar बढ़े हुए हैं.
Navika, there is one chaupai, Khalan Hriday Atitap Bisesi, which says that an evil will always find a reason so as to create some form of an agitation and create unrest. That's what BJP is doing.
Okay.
I mean,
so the BJP is wrong. The BJP is wrong, and Shivraj Patil is right. The BJP is wrong, and Shivraj Patil is right. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying is it's important that in which context did he say it is. He should be given a fair chance. He must be allowed to explain.
What context?
That has nothing to do
context,
with
Gaurav Bhatia. Context will decide whether Bhagavad Gita spoke about jihad, yes or no. Context has to decide that.
Navika, first of all, it's not the vaccination of appeasement, but I guess it's the virus of appeasement and communal politics that has long infected the Congress party.
Thanks for
correcting. And चौपाई बहुत सुनाई जा रही है, तो हनुमान चालीसा में भी एक बहुत अच्छी लाइन है, महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुम तिनवार सुमति के संगी. सो हम लोग तो ये प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं केवल कि जल्द ही इनकी ये जो नफरत वाली सोच है ये बदले. But there is a larger point that I wish to make, and I'll tell you the reason why this competition is going on. We all know that Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh will be having their assembly elections soon. In Gujarat especially, Congress is not doing very well, and people are saying that it might be replaced even as an opposition party by the Aam Aadmi Party. Now remember the statement of Rajendra Gautam. Don't disturb me, my friend, don't disturb me. It's okay. Let me make my point. जो भी सपने होंगे देखेंगे किसके सपने हैं, कौन रियलिटी चेक करता है. राजेंद्र गौतम ने कहा था, लॉर्ड शिवा, Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Lord Brahma, they are nothing. And today, competing with him, Shivraj Patil, in a bite given to one of the broadcasting agencies, said, Bhagwan Gautam Buddha ne kaha, मैं भगवान को नहीं मानता. Second, he said, हिंदू धर्म में लोग ही कितने हैं नाविका जी? 2, 4, 5. कांग्रेस पार्टी बड़ी है, हिंदू धर्म तो बहुत छोटा है. तीसरी बात जो उन्होंने कही, क्रिश्चियन सबसे ज्यादा है, मुस्लिम उसके बाद है बुद्धिस्ट, और फिर है हिंदू. फैक्चुअली ऑल्सो इज रॉन्ग. बट माई पॉइंट हियर इज नाविका, देयर इज अ कॉम्पिटिशन गोइंग ऑन that we have to appease the Muslims and we have to hurt the sentiments of Hindus every day. We have to treat them like second-grade citizens, and that is why today the Congress party has been decimated all over India. The worst part is Mr. Jindal here is justifying the comment made by Shivraj Patil. I think Shivraj Patil even today, when Tehseen is saying has retired, has a bigger stature than Naveen Jindal. And thus I demand Khadge ji to come out and first condemn his own statement on Sanatan Rashtra and then also condemn the statement on Jairam Ramesh.
Lokesh Jindal, but let me get in Ashutosh Mishra. He hasn't spoken yet. Ashutosh Mishra, are these compulsions of elections, or are these compulsions of just the second nature of the Congress party, which is rank appeasement, which they have followed for so very long, कि अब भूल ही गए हैं कि कौन सा इस देश में सबसे बड़ा रिलीजन फॉलो करने वाला पॉपुलेशन है और कौन माइनॉरिटी है, इसका गणित भी भूल चुके हैं. आशुतोष मिश्रा, आई वांट टू आस्क यू, somebody like Shivraj Patil, experienced politician, making such a statement and then reiterating the statement, that is where the question really comes. Is it the virus of appeasement that has afflicted the Congress party's thought process? Because Shivraj Patil is certainly not a lone voice in the Congress.
It be compulsion or sinister design or virus, whatever you want to call it. It is the BJP which has been infected by it. You keep talking about Hindu terror. I hope you might have heard of RSS, ex-RSS man Yashwant Shinde, who has filed an affidavit saying that RSS preaches violence. So this now it's a RSS man who is saying that Sangh Parivar teaches terrorist activities, bomb blasts, and he has even accused higher ups in RSS of being knowing about this. So let's stick to facts. That's fact number one. Fact number two: jihad doesn't only mean holy war. It means an effort to fight evil within and without. What jihad you understand as holy war is actually what BJP is doing. That is misusing the religion to expand its political base. And that's what the kings used to do in the past. They misrepresented, misinterpreted along with the priests. We see priests even today. We have a lot of people who stand up and in Mahasabhas who spew venom against minorities. So it was a similar thought process which led to holy wars, whether it be crusades or jihad. Let's not confuse that. Them with jihad, which means
who is confused?
Within
Are people of India confused, or Shivraj Patil and the Congress party confused?
BJP and its supporters. Because when you talk about appeasement and you talk about maths, I mean, what you say is an oxymoron. No political party will try to to be on the wrong side of majority of voters. And in any case, BJP still hasn't got the majority of Hindus voting for it. So it cannot say that it represents Hindus in any way. It's winning.
You are saying nobody will want to be on the wrong side of the majority community. But Rahul Ishwar, it is the same Shivraj Patil who has said that first Jains, Buddhists, Muslims, Sikhs and then Hindus. Then isn't he confused about which is the majority religion, which is the minority?
Ashutosh, let us be honest about this. There is a disrespect to the disorganized Hindu majority. Hindus, even though are majority, around 100+ crore people, they are unorganized. They are not united. So there is a disrespect. Otherwise, how can anyone explain Sri Ram, who Mahatma Gandhi said as Rama Rajya? Mahatma Gandhi's core was Ram. And the ASI and the central government had the audacity to say that Ram didn't exist. And please remember, even right now, many people in government, when the government was there, they used to call it Adam's Bridge and not Ramasetu. How can it be an Adam's Bridge when it was Ramasetu? But they wanted to secularize it. They wanted to secularize and call it Adam's Bridge. So there is a callous attitude.
That's the point. File the affidavit, then take it back. You say this, but not take it back. You talk about jihad, not take it back. The question is, why is there confusion in the minds of the Congress people? And Tehseen, that is my question to you. After all, सब लोग कोर्ट में, न्याय के मंदिर में, कोर्ट में जाकर गीता पर कसम खाते हैं. उसी गीता पर जिसमें लिखा हुआ है कि कृष्ण ने अर्जुन को जिहाद सिखाया था, उसी गीता पर.
The Gita, as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru explains, is of cultural significance to Bharat, not of India, of Bharat. And anyone who's read Discovery of India and read a little bit about Nehru knows what Nehru held about India's cultural ethos and about Hinduism and how devout a Hindu he was. But let me come to the larger issue. The Congress has officially distanced itself.
Is Gita only cultural or is it religious also?
He was not a devout.
It's a religious text and a cultural text, because I as an atheist have read the Gita, and it should be taught to every single Indian because it is the most important book every Indian will ever read.
Does it teach you about jihad? Is that the reason you're reading it?
No, it actually teaches me about the victory of good over evil. It actually teaches me about the infiniteness of the universe.
And that is, in your definition, is that called jihad?
No, I don't think so. Therefore, I said Shivraj Patil should shut up.
Okay. So Lokesh Jindal, to Tehseen Poonawalla, good over evil is what Gita teaches. The victory of good over evil. 1 minute on that limited point, Lokesh Jindal. Coming back to you, Tehseen. Take a deep breath. Let me get Lokesh Jindal. Let me get all congressmen on the same page. And Lokesh Jindal, I want to ask you. Victory of good over evil is what Gita says is even the understanding of Tehseen Poonawalla, who calls himself an atheist. लेकिन ये बात शिवराज पाटिल को नहीं समझ आती, कांग्रेस को नहीं आती.
Clear that all religions in the world, they speak about a universal truth.
Which is?
We are not trying to draw any form of a parallel.
And the universal truth is what? Jihad?
Or other religion. No.
What is the universal truth?
The universal truth is that there has to be a form of a compassion amongst all human beings, all forms of love and compassion, mutual social cohesion. That is what is the essence of Bharat Jodo. In fact, that is what is the essence of all humanity.
But Shantanu Gupta, was that the essence of what Shivraj Patil said? Was that when Shivraj Patil talks about jihad in the Gita, is this the compassion that is being taught? Is this the compassion that is being preached, or is this really trying to show down a religion that is followed by the majority population in this country?
Now, because why will a political party?
I don't know. You tell me.
Let's not go around the woods.
Is it for me?
Navika.
Yes, Shantanu.
Navika, don't do jihad on the channel, please. It's my turn. Let me speak, please. Yeah. So let's not go around the woods. Shivraj Singh Chauhan and all the congressmen who spoken against Hindus in the past, their only purpose is to appease minority. Now the election season is coming, and they want to show a clear picture. Okay, even if you do jihad, even if you do terrorism, we will defend you, and we will also put false equivalents like that Krishna has taught jihad. So let's not be fooled. The way they coined Hindu terrorism, the way they coined the drama is imaginary. Similarly, Shivraj added one more leaf in the anti-Hindu chapters of Congress now that Krishna had taught jihad.
Well, I want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, once again. Tehseen Poonawalla, why is there no condemnation that is coming from the Congress party? You say Shivraj Patil is retired, but he is with all other congressmen present at the book launch ceremony where he made this statement. So I want to ask you, why just distance yourself? Why not condemn this? Why not call this hurtful? And why not put out a statement or force Mr. Shivraj Patil to apologize to a country where the majority people are Hindus and have been hurt by the statement he made? Why? Why no action?
I'll answer that very specifically, but just prior to that, 10 seconds I was reading with you. Is it my fellow panelists and dear friends of mine, Gaurav Bhai, Rahul or Shantanu Bhai, they believe that the Muslims will get happy by Hindus being run down? No Muslim in this great land of ours will be happy by Muslims being run down. So why would any political party
want to sort of give this word of appeal? Which Muslim will be happy that Hindus are run down? But let me answer your question.
That's what Congress thinks, and that's what how they ran their politics for the last many decades.
And let me prove that, Shantanu Bhai. Let me prove that Congress does not think that. Shivraj Singh Chauhan was incompetent at 2611, the Congress kicked him out. But on 2611, when my dear friend Hemant Karkare was martyred, there was the Chief Minister of Gujarat holding a press conference. Why did the BJP not remove him? That man continues to be Prime Minister of our country, and he encouraged Pragya Thakur.
Tehseen, waterboarding will not help. Tehseen, waterboarding will not help.
Shantanu Bhai, I will not interrupt you. Please allow me.
Tehseen, waterboarding will not help. Ask your friend Rahul Gandhi just to denounce it. Just sack Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
Or force him to apologize.
I will come to that. I'm coming to that.
At least force him to apologize.
By 10 seconds, I'm pleading 10 seconds. The affidavit on Bhagwan Sri Ram was wrong and rightfully withdrawn by the Congress, as Ashutosh Bhai said. But the statement on Ma Sita that she is mythological, why is that not being withdrawn? I'm asking you, the BJP is the biggest hypocrite in this country. Look, the Congress made mistakes. Apologize. Why doesn't the BJP do so? That's the point that we are trying to
अच्छा, हम तो नहीं करेंगे गौरव भाटिया, हम तो नहीं करेंगे, पर आप हिंदुओं के ठेकेदार हो, इसीलिए आपने नहीं किया तो हम नहीं कर रहे तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? That is the argument that is coming from Tehseen Poonawalla. I want to ask you to respond to that.
Navika, let's raise the level of our discourse and discussion. I will say it very clearly. कोई ठेकेदार नहीं है हिंदुओं के वोट का और कोई ठेकेदार नहीं है मुसलमानों के वोट का. प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी represents the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Muslims, the Jain, the Baudd, the Christians, everyone. So ठेकेदारी ये सब शब्द प्रयोग नहीं होना चाहिए. But I have a larger point to make, and I am sure that Mr. Jindal and Tehseen will understand the point I am making as a citizen and as a Hindu. Navika and I will not take the name of a holy book because holy book is pious to many of my brethren. But imagine if someone would say the same for a holy book and say that, you know, this holy book does not teach this thing which is good, or this is very sinister. Or Shashi Tharoor's statement, you remember when he said, Narendra Modi ji is like a scorpion sitting on a shivling. How do you hit him with a chappal? Now, can you say the same for any holy book? I would not be able to say. And this is what a responsible party is expected to do. That when you talk about a religion, you should know the religion in and out. You should be an authority in that religion. And when you are comparing it to another religion, you should know both, which wasn't done in the case of Shivraj Patil. My second point is it not true that former US Ambassador Timothy Romer, he had said, as per WikiLeaks, that Rahul Gandhi feels that Hindu forces are greater threat in India than ISIS and terrorists. What does it show? It shows a state of hatred for the Hindus, and it shows that they want to appease the Muslims. And this comes out clearly even today when Shivraj Patil speaks on the instructions of Mr. Kharge, who's trying to show that he is even a bigger communal leader than all the leaders put together in the Congress. I think that is the only way to establish yourself. Third, if affidavit is a measure, because one of the panelists said an affidavit has been given against the RSS. Do you know, Navika, I'll not name the leader now, but everyone will understand. Before the Allahabad High Court, there was a petition filed with the affidavit. Then a very senior leader of the Congress is a rapist. Affidavits don't speak. It's the judgment of the court which is to be followed. So please do not talk about affidavits, otherwise your senior leader will become a rapist and you will not be able to defend him.
Well, Ashutosh Mishra, I want to ask you. You know, there are serial offenders in the Congress party against whom no action has ever been taken. Salman Khurshid, in his book called Hindutva, same as ISIS and Boko Haram. Please note. And this was stated just 1 year ago, 11th of November 2021. Then Mr. Chidambaram, who says new phenomenon of saffron terrorism. There has been recent uncovered phenomenon of saffron terrorism that has been implicated in many bomb blasts of the past. And then, of course, there was the famous comment by Sushil Kumar, or rather infamous comment by Sushil Kumar Shinde. Digvijay Singh, who has continuously even said that 26/11 was actually an RSS plot that had happened. Ashutosh, I want to ask you, repeat statements coming in from Congress leaders, and so many of them such senior Congress leaders, can that be a mere coincidence?
So, first of all, we are talking about affidavits. So, affidavit given by a ex-RSS Pracharak, no, the court hasn't taken a decision on it, and CBI was opposing that the person not be allowed to give the affidavit that RSS teaches terrorism and bomb blast. Let's clear the air for the viewers. It's very different from the other affidavit that the BJP spokesperson was referring to.
Is the judgment delivered?
Number two, then we come to that case that case is still going on. That case is still going on. Please follow it. Then let's come to the Hindutva equating Hindutva with ISIS and terrorists. That is something that even Rahul Gandhi has said. And Hindutva does not represent Hinduism. There are two different things. Hindutva is just political.
So you can call, so you're saying, Shantanu Gupta, so Ashutosh Mishra is justifying that Hindutva is same as ISIS and Boko Haram. He is virtually saying that is all right because after all we are talking about Hindutva, not Hinduism. You know, that's the difference they make. You know, is that acceptable?
Navika, I started with that Shivraj Singh Patil made a horrendous statement while defining all the panelists are even going beyond it. And if you keep continuing this debate, they will almost speak the same language with likes of Shashi Tharoor, Shivraj Patil speak. So I think there's no end to this debate. This is deep inside their heart, that how we can hate Hindus, how we can disrespect Hindus, and that can only give them the ground to survive politically on TV channels, right? So the more you elongate this debate, you will find there more venom inside them.
Well, Gaurav Bhatia, is this only about vote bank politics?
Absolutely, Navika. This is about vote bank politics. It's dirty politics, keeping in mind the assembly elections in Gujarat and Himachal where Congress would be routed. It's also about Mr. Kharge trying to establish his authority by becoming more communal than Rahul Gandhi, Shashi Tharoor, Mani Shankar Iyer, P. Chidambaram, Sushil Kumar Shinde put together. And Mr. Kharge is a very astute politician. He knows that if he has to appear taller than the Gandhi Parivar, the only way is by abusing the Hindus and by appeasing the Muslims, and that is what the party has started doing.
Well, if this is the way the Congress party thinks it's going to get electoral dividends and make a comeback in politics to be a major player in this country, well, I don't know. What do people of India think about this move, and whether they will be fooled by this statement and not recognize the vote bank politics and the virus of appeasement that continues to dictate statements like these coming from the Congress party's senior leaders again and again and again. Why? Let's wait and watch what happens in elections. Thank you very much for all the panelists joining me on this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Amrit Kal for Hindu Astha. From the Ujjain corridor to Kashi Vishwanath corridor, to the Kedarnath temple restoration and the grandeur of Badrinath, to the construction of the Bhavya Ram Mandir, the Modi Sarkar is on a mission to renovate symbols of Hindu Astha. Prime Minister Modi landed in Shiv Nagri and performed puja at Kedarnath and Badrinath temples earlier today. The atmosphere was filled with chants of Har Har Mahadev and Jai Jai Shri Kedar. On Diwali Eve, the Prime Minister will be seen in the city of Maryada Purushottam Lord Ram. He will inspect the construction of the Ram Mandir, and for the first time on Choti Diwali, there will be a display of 10 lakh diyas that will be lit. For many centuries, every Hindu in India and abroad has celebrated Deepavali. But somewhere the link of Ayodhya, where the story of Lord Ram really begins, was disconnected. The restoration of the Ram, Ayodhya, the Mandir at Ayodhya and the Hindu religion will now once again be resurrected. There is no doubt that there is a Hindu renaissance under the Prime Minister Modi government, and he has lent his hand in the restoration of these places of great reverence and also corrected the historical wrongs committed during the rule of invaders. We leave you with this special report of the wonderful visuals.
Traditional Chola Dora gifted to him by the Chamba women of Himachal, PM Modi reached the doors of Baba Kedarnath. The Kedarnath temple, a symbol of Hindu Astha, has been given a grand makeover over the years. From unveiling a 13-foot high statue of Guru Adi Shankaracharya among the Kedarnath mountains, to launching redevelopment projects in the grandest manner, the temple tourism has been restored to its lost glory.
देश की आजादी के 75 साल पूरे होने पर मैंने लाल किले से एक आह्वान किया है। ये आह्वान है गुलामी की मानसिकता से पूरी तरह मुक्ति का। क्या जरूरत पड़ी ये कहने की? ऐसा इसलिए क्योंकि हमारे देश को गुलामी की मानसिकता ने ऐसा जकड़ा हुआ है कि प्रगति का हर कार्य कुछ लोगों को अपराध की तरह लगता है।
The blueprint had been prepared much in advance. The Modi government's drive to revive temples across India is believed to be a concerted effort central to the idea of New India steeped in glorious traditions. It all started with the revival of the Somnath temple in Gujarat. Considered to be among the 12 Jyotirlingas of India, the Somnath shrine received special attention since Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. After he became the Prime Minister, the entire old temple complex was holistically redeveloped, becoming a haven for pilgrims and tourists.
आस्था को आतंक से कुचला नहीं जा सकता। इस मंदिर को सैकड़ों सालों के इतिहास में कितनी ही बार तोड़ा गया, यहां की मूर्तियों को खंडित किया गया, इसका अस्तित्व मिटाने की हर कोशिश की गई, लेकिन इसे जितनी भी बार गिराया गया वे उतनी ही बार उठ खड़ा हुआ।
On 13 December 2021, the 700 crore rupees Kashi Vishwanath project was inaugurated. Known to be the Prime Minister's dream, 40 temples restored to their original glory, with 23 new buildings added to the newly constructed structure. It was a historic moment for Hindus all over the world. The city of Kashi turned into the heart of Hindu Astha.
ऐसे लोग भी थे जो बनारस के लोगों पर संदेह करते थे, कैसे होगा, होगा ही नहीं, यहां तो ऐसे ही चलता है, ये मोदी जी जैसे बहुत आके गए, काशी तो काशी है, काशी तो अविनाशी है।
Sandalwood and bhashma on his forehead, with a Rudraksh mala in his hand, PM Modi inaugurated the majestic Mahakal corridor in the ancient city of Ujjain. The Shaivite devotional chants of Har Har Mahadev and Jai Shri Mahakal reverberated along the corridor, instilling a sense of Hindu pride. Over the last 8 years, there have been efforts to assuage the wounds inflicted on Hindu Astha over centuries. In August 2020, in a groundbreaking ceremony, the foundation stone of the Ram temple in Ayodhya was laid, fulfilling the long-made promise of 3 temples.
राम मंदिर के निर्माण की ये प्रक्रिया राष्ट्र को जोड़ने का उपक्रम है, ये महोत्सव है विश्वास को विद्यमान से जोड़ने का।
The Ram Janmabhoomi has been at the center of conflict for many years, but the shackles of the past have been broken. PM Modi will once again visit Ayodhya, with his Deepavali bringing a new glimmer of hope and light. Bureau Report, Times Now.
You were watching the News Hour at 9. Stay tuned.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में। नहीं हेमा मालिनी। कन्हैया जी ने भक्त जैन जी राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become. मथुरा के जो सांसद बनना चाहेंगे उसको तो आप बनने नहीं देंगे। आप दिमाग में सबको ऐसा डाल के रखेंगे फिल्म स्टार ही बनेगा। आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में। नहीं हेमा मालिनी। कन्हैया जी ने भक्त जैन जी राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become. बहुत अच्छी बात है।
आपका क्या विचार है इस बार? आप
मेरा विचार क्या मैं बताऊं? मेरा विचार भगवान के ऊपर है। लॉर्ड कृष्णा विल डू इट।
तो मैं तो देश की सेवा के लिए ही पैदा हुई हूँ और मैं देश की सेवा करना चाहती हूँ। और क्यों नहीं, हमारे मोदी साहब, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी चाय बनाते बनाते प्रधानमंत्री जी पीएम बन सकते हैं, तो मैं बॉलीवुड में काम करते करते सीएम क्यों नहीं बन सकती हूँ? डेफिनेटली मैं बनूंगी। आप सबका आशीर्वाद चाहिए। तो 2024 में अब आप मुझे चुनाव लड़ते हुए देखेंगे। किसके अपोजिट, ये सरप्राइज है।
You're watching the NewsHour at 9.
Supreme Court has agreed to hear a fresh plea moved by a women's organization challenging the remission of sentence and the release of convicts in the 2002 Bilkis Bano gang rape case. Hours after surrendering in court in the Arms Act case, gangster turned politician Mukhtar Ansari's son Abbas Ansari gets bail. PDP President Mehbooba Mufti has been served a notice to vacate her official bungalow in the high-security Gupkar area in Srinagar. The hearing on the bail plea of Shiv Sena Uddhav camp leader and MP Sanjay Raut has been adjourned. Next hearing will be heard on November 2. In a corruption case filed by CBI, former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh's bail plea has been rejected by a special CBI court.
You were watching the NewsHour at 9. Stay tuned. 9.
A special magistrate court in Mumbai has directed the police to execute a non-bailable warrant against Amravati MP Navneet Rana and her father in a case of alleged caste certificate forging. After doctors' protest over SOPs for streamlining the medical care arrangements for sitting members of parliament, AIIMS withdraw a letter giving special treatments to MPs. Bombay High Court has instructed all the city authorities to register cases against those obstructing civic officials from acting against menacing stray dogs. After alleged rape of a 4-year-old in a Hyderabad school, Telangana Education Minister has directed Hyderabad DEO to cancel recognition of the school. Governor of Victoria and other dignitaries met the Indian cricket team today ahead of the T20 World Cup.
You were watching the News Hour at 9. Stay tuned.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, a free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में।
नहीं हेमा मालिनी।
कन्हैया जी ने भक्त जंजन जी कल राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become.
You're watching the News Hour Agenda, India's most loved primetime show at 10. I'm Padmaja Joshi. Today the Prime Minister was in Uttarakhand, and while there he made a major push for revival of centers of Hindu faith. It's a theme that has run through most of his events in the last few months. First, it was Ayodhya, the Bhumi Pujan there. Then it was the Kashi Vishwanath corridor. Then the Mahakal corridor. Today, the Prime Minister visited Kedarnath and Badrinath shrines and sent out a clear message that there is a need to shed a colonial mindset that India has for long been shackled by, and Indians must take pride in their Hindu civilization. Launching a scathing attack on previous governments, the Prime Minister highlighted that centers of spiritual and religious importance were not just neglected, but also there was almost an embarrassment to acknowledge our Hindu culture and civilization. And this neglect, said the PM, was because of a Heen Bhavna, a feeling of inferiority towards centers of faith. Citing the examples of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, Ujjain, Ayodhya, where major reconstruction work has been carried out in recent years, the PM said that his government has restored these centers back to their glory.
लंबे समय तक हमारे यहां अपने आस्था स्थलों के विकास को लेकर एक नफरत का भाव रहा। विदेशों में वहां की संस्कृति से जुड़े स्थानों की ये लोग तारीफ करते करते नहीं थकते, लेकिन भारत में इस प्रकार के काम को हेय दृष्टि से देखा जाता था। इसकी वजह एक ही थी, अपनी संस्कृति को लेकर हीन भावना, अपने आस्था स्थलों पर अविश्वास, अपनी विरासत से विद्वेष। देश की आजादी के 75 साल पूरे होने पर मैंने लाल किले से एक आह्वान किया है। ये आह्वान है गुलामी की मानसिकता से पूरी तरह मुक्ति का। क्या जरूरत पड़ी ये कहने की? ऐसा इसलिए क्योंकि हमारे देश को गुलामी की मानसिकता ने ऐसा जकड़ा हुआ है कि प्रगति का हर कार्य कुछ लोगों को अपराध की तरह लगता है। गुलामी की ऐसी मानसिकता ने हमारे पूजनीय पवित्र आस्था स्थलों को जर्जर स्थिति में ला दिया था। सैकड़ों वर्षों से मौसम की मार सहते आ रहे पत्थर, मंदिर स्थल, पूजा स्थल के जाने के मार्ग, वहां पर पानी की व्यवस्था हो तो उसकी तबाही, सब कुछ तबाह होकर के रख दिया गया था। जिसके प्रति कोटि कोटि लोगों की श्रद्धा हो, हजारों साल से श्रद्धा हो, जीवन का एक सपना हो कि उस धाम में जाकर के मत्था टेक के आएंगे, लेकिन सरकारें ऐसी रही कि अपने ही नागरिकों को वहां तक जाने की सुविधा करने का उनको जरूरी नहीं लगा।
Now, for very long, there has been a debate of temple versus toilet. Remember, that was a famously controversial comment that was made by then Minister Jairam Ramesh. But while in Uttarakhand, the Prime Minister underlined that the two can and should go hand in hand. One should always have pride in their civilization, their history and their culture, but should also keep marching forward towards progress. Which is why, after visiting the shrines in Badrinath and Kedarnath, the Prime Minister also inaugurated connectivity projects worth 3,500 crores in Mana village, one of the last few villages in India in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. He also laid the foundation stone of 2 ropeway projects and road widening projects worth around 1,000 crores. From Kashi to Mahakal, under the Prime Minister, there has been a renovation of Hindu shrines across the country. Remember, recently in Ujjain, the PM inaugurated the first phase of the 900-meter Mahakal corridor project worth over 800 crores. In December last year, he inaugurated the revamped Kashi Vishwanath Dham, unveiled Adi Shankaracharya's statue at Kedarnath, and inaugurated reconstructed precincts of Old Somnath in Gujarat. A year earlier, he laid the foundation stone of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. In a country where for long it has been argued that we must look at the temples of the future, where dams, schools, hospitals is what we must aspire to, can the two go hand in hand? Should the two not go hand in hand? And was there an embarrassment about our culture which led to the neglect, and is that neglect now being undone by the Modi government?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us on the show, we have Guru Prakash, national spokesperson of the BJP, author Uday Mahurkar, Ashutosh, political analyst, Heen Bhavna, Dr. Suman C. Raman, both political analysts. But my first question is to former Member of Parliament and author Pavan Verma. Mr. Verma, I want to start by asking you about a comment that the Prime Minister made today, saying that the lack of attention to our places of worship, to temples, is not because there was negligence. It was because of Heen Bhavna. And especially talking about past governments. Do you think that's a legitimate accusation?
I think the Prime Minister has a kernel of relevance in what he said, because Padmaja, for some time, soon after 1947, there was a feeling that the definition of secularism would be violated or vitiated if you showed unnecessary respect to your own religion or unnecessary preoccupation for it or excessive preoccupation for it. And there were incidents in the past when, for instance, I think in 1951, when there was to be the renovation of the Somnath temple, which, as you know, was brutally destroyed by Mahmud Ghazni and every time rebuilt and destroyed again. The renovation of Somnath temple, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru at that time, perhaps for well-intentioned reasons, felt that the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad's attending the renovation would be tantamount to, in some manner, diluting secularism. So let me make it clear, secularism is not about indifference to one's own faith, but respect for all faiths. Secondly, let me make the point briefly that yes, I would slightly disagree with the Prime Minister. There was even to some extent a neglect of many important landmarks of Hindu civilizational legacy. They needed to be restored, they needed to be put right. And I think that process is also in a way justified. My third point is that if that is the case, we must ensure that the Prime Minister of a country should not appear to be indifferent to his faith in any manner. He should be a devout Hindu, but he should occasionally, for purposes of symbolic presence, also be present at activities of other faiths, because we are a multicultural, plural, a diverse society.
Okay, very interesting points made, but your first issue I want to take across with Heen Bhavna. Our first Prime Minister was famously quoted as saying that it is dams which are temples of modern India, Heen Bhavna. Now the message is dams bhi banenge, Narmada Dam bhi banega aur mandir bhi banenge.
And at the onset, in advance, a very happy Diwali to such an esteemed panelist, because I don't know if we'll meet all of them for Diwali, so happy Diwali in advance. The first Prime Minister rightly said that the dams are the temples of modern India, because at that time, in 1947, 1948, when India got independence, India was grappling with economic instability. It had a GDP that was negative, and it had the country that had to rebuild the country. But that does not mean that Jawaharlal Nehru was against the idea of Hinduism or Indian culture. I mean, anyone just has to read Discovery of India, as I know that Pawanji has read Discovery of India, and you will understand how Pandit Nehru speaks about Indian culture and about Hinduism. The man, Pandit Nehru, when he died, his ashes were put in the Ganga. So let's understand that he was also a devout Indian who understood Indian culture. Let's come to the issue of Somnath that has repeatedly been, by the BJP, falsely attributed to Pandit Nehru being against the renovation of Somnath and subsequently other issues. Let me just briefly touch upon that. Somnath was renovated by a gentleman called Mr. Gadgil, who happened to be a member of parliament from Pune, who was a PWD minister in the first Nehru government, and somebody, his family and my family being extremely close, and my family played a small role in that. And Pandit Nehru writes to Gadgil, and I'm quoting his letters, he writes to Gadgil, telling Gadgil that the Somnath temple must be magnificent. Yes, there was a disagreement between Pandit Nehru and Sardar Patel on how should the government renovate the temple. Ultimately, it was done by a trust. Who gave the trust the money, and which cabinet, who headed that cabinet? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and Mr. Gadgil was in charge of renovating that temple, the first PWD minister of India. Incidentally, Mr. Gadgil is also the gentleman who identified Godse and Apte as murderers of Bapu. So to say that India in 1955 was grappling with how secularism should turn out is completely different from what happens today. Yes, Pandit Nehru had differences with Rajendra Prasad on should a president of a sovereign attend or no, but he didn't prevent the president. The president did go in his personal capacity, and that continued. So let's understand we were a grappling nation. Okay. That comparison in 2022 is unfair. Point number two. It is not that only Prime Minister Modi today has come up with this entire renaissance of religious tourism. It is great it is happening. It must happen because India must sell its culture and its religious tourism. But Pawan Verma ji is from Bihar. Did the Bihar government and the UPA government not work on various sites in Bihar? I know that they did. I know that in Gujarat it's happened. I know that it's happened in various other states, and not just on Buddhist or Muslim temples or mosques, but also on Hindu temples. Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, I can provide you a list. And these have been UPA government, these have been erstwhile NDA government. Yes, there is more marketing of Mr. Modi, I agree. But it's happened before and will continue to happen.
So since you mentioned Bihar and Gujarat both, I think it's important we go across to Guru Prakash and Udayji both. Right now you've got a muscular assertion, Guru Prakash, of religious renaissance. Panditji also did it, Nehruji also did it, subsequent prime ministers also did it, but as Heen Bhavna says, marketing wasn't done.
No, Padmaja, I think it's a matter of perception, and Heen Bhavna is entitled to his own views. But one thing which we need to understand, and I partly agree with Pawanji, who is a very accomplished author, we have all read his work, that he referred to our culture as a civilization. We are not just a nation, but we are a civilization. We have our rich cultural and civilizational roots. And we need a deep project on decolonizing the Indian mind. We need a very strong academic infrastructure to deal with decolonizing the Indian mind. Unfortunately, decades after independence, the rulers, the ruling establishment, they were colonized. They were not taking proud in doing all of this. In the last 8 years, what we have seen, be it the Char Dham infrastructure Yojana, the Kedarnath Yojana, the Badrinath Yojana, the Mahakal Yojana, the Kashi Vishwanath Yojana, which was a logistical marvel in itself, which was a textbook example of how urban administration can be done. No one could have imagined. If you go to Kashi today, if you go to Kashi Vishwanath, you would realize that how properties all around the temple parisar was acquired without any legal hassle. So what is the problem in that? The problem is when a Congress president in 2019 says कि इस देश में सनातन का भय हो जाएगा, सनातन का शासन हो जाएगा, that is where the problem lies, Padmaja. सनातन के नाम पे आप डर पैदा करना चाहते हैं? When it was Mahatma Gandhi who proudly said कि मैं सनातनी हिंदू हूं, ये महात्मा गांधी जी को तो पढ़ के आओ आप कम से कम. When Ram Manohar Lohia, in one of his very fundamental essays, Ram, Krishna and Shiv, he says that इस देश के हृदय में राम बसते हैं और आज लोहिया के जो चेले हैं वो सेकुलरिज्म पे ज्ञान देते हैं. The point is this, that even if you go back to history, I still remember a member of Constituent Assembly, Tajmul Hasan, he said that there is no point in using the word minority. Then the entire politics of minority appeasement in this country is problematic. When in 2007 the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh says इस देश के संसाधनों पे पहला हक मुसलमानों का है, that is where the problem arises.
So Ashutosh ji, this is not about renovating temples or being seen prominently with chandan on your forehead. It is about saying proudly that I am proud of my religion and I am proud of my heritage, and the lack of doing that is being argued is a sign of colonial shackles. Ashutosh ji. And that is what our past government suffered from. Colonial shackles.
Padmaja, to call our great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, that their mind was colonized and now the mind has been decolonized, I think it's a distortion of history and it's belittling our great leaders. Somebody who fought against the British colonization, who fought with all the vigor and the energy they had, to demonize them like this, I think that's not in the right spirit. Point number one. Point number two, secularism in this country does not mean discrimination between faith. To create hate speech against a particular religion. And I can understand the Prime Minister of the country, the BJP has great faith in Hinduism. And we all are proud of being a Hindu, though I do not practice any religion. But the fact of the matter is, where it is written in Ved, in Upanishad, in Shankaracharya's philosophy, in Ramanuja's philosophy, in Vallabha's philosophy, in Chaitanya philosophy, in Kabir philosophy, that a particular religion should be demonized and the hate mongering should be done against them.
But sir,
what is happening today is that
to go to Kedarnath, Badrinath or to do Mahakal Lok, how is that demonizing any religion? That is just to say that your places of worship should be given the due respect.
Padmaja,
by making temples, you're not saying कि बाकी खराब है.
No Hindu will ever question that why a particular temple has been renovated and made grand. But is it permissible to create hate mongering in the country in the name of religion? Is it permissible? Is it permissible that a few people feel very happy when Bilkis Bano's the rapists are freed and the Home Ministry of the country concurs with the Gujarat government's
Sir, with the greatest of respect, how are we conflating the two issues? One is a law and order issue and must be addressed and must be condemned. But to say कि temples बनने से नफरत फैलाई जा रही है, कैसे? Temples का अगर जीर्णोद्धार हो रहा है, तो उससे नफरत कैसे फैल रही है?
पद्मजा जी, आप मेरी बातों को थोड़ा ट्विस्ट कर रही है. I'm sorry to say this. मैंने ये नहीं कहा कि आप टेम्पल्स का जीर्णोद्धार नहीं, मैंने ये कहा कि दोनों चीजें एक साथ होनी चाहिए. मंदिर का निर्माण भी करिए, लेकिन किसी दूसरे धर्म के खिलाफ नफरत की बात मत करिए. जो लोग नफरत की बात कर रहे हैं उनके खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, उसमें किसी तरीके का डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं होना चाहिए. अगर ये परसेप्शन फैलता है कि सत्ता के ऊंचे प्रतिष्ठानों पर बैठे हुए लोग नफरत फैलते हुए देखना चाहते हैं क्योंकि उनको खास तरीके से हिंदुओं का वोट चाहिए, तो उसमें मुझे आपत्ति है और यह कहने का मेरा अधिकार है. महात्मा गांधी वॉज अ डिवाउट हिंदू, बट ही वॉज नॉट कम्युनल. That's the line we have to draw.
Okay, Guru Prakash, respond to that and then I'll come to you, Udayji. Guru Prakash, demonizing one while glorifying the other.
No. At the outset, let me make this clarification that what Ashutosh ji was trying to do to attribute some of the statements, I did not make. I did not say that our senior leadership was colonized, but the ruling establishment decades our independence, they were colonized, and there is no doubt about that. Point number 2, about demonization. If 40% more Muslim girls are going to schools, if this is demonization, what is the definition of education? If Pasmanda Muslims are getting their due, if for the first time in the history of Uttar Pradesh, a Pasmanda Muslim Danish Ansari is going to be a part of the cabinet, if this is demonization, then what is representation? The third point, sir, if abolition of triple talaq, if abrogation of Article 370 is bringing welfare to the Muslim community, then what is the definition of demonization? This is just falsifying the narrative. This is something which we need to be careful of. And Ashutosh ji, being a senior journalist, I don't think that you can do this.
Ashutosh ji, quick response, please. I really must bring in Udayji. Yes.
My dear friend has not spoken about the remuneration of life imprisonment for those who brutalized a woman called Bilkis Bano, and the Home Ministry in all its hurry has given has concurred in 15 days when all the rules were flouted for that. I wish he could speak on that, and he should condemn those who offered them sweets and the garland. He should also speak about how come the Home Ministry concurs with the judgment of the Gujarat government.
Okay, Udayji, respond to this. Even Pawan Verma ji raised this concern that it's great कि आप कहें कि you throw away the shackles of colonialism, be proud of your heritage, but similarly it should be done for all religions.
Padmaja, let me tell you one thing. Prime Minister Modi has been sending chadar to Ajmer Sharif every year for the last 8 years. He has attended many Sufi sammelans. In Gujarat also, he attended Sufi sammelans in 2010, 2011. So there are many things to, but let us stick to the main narrative. I entirely agree with the Prime Minister, and it should be, his statement today should be seen as correction of a historical wrong. How? Let us go deeper into history. I think we are limiting it to just 947. You see, thousands of temples were demolished during the Muslim period. Leave aside Akbar, I think Jahangir, to some extent Shah Jahan. This temple destruction has continued almost throughout till the Marathas came to hold the reins in Delhi. Now, again, after that, India was partitioned at the behest of a section of Muslims. In 1945-46, Central Assembly election, which was the last parliamentary election before independence, total voting was less of Muslims, but 87% of the Muslims who voted, they voted for Muslim League. 87%. So out of I think the voting was 20%, very less, But even if you don't apply it on 100%, then it is very clear that majority of the Muslims wanted Pakistan, correct? Now after that, you see, you have a Places of Worship Act, against temple destruction which went on for centuries together. Was it not the duty of the Congress to ensure that at least Somnath came, of course, Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura comes back to the Hindus? So this was a result of a Hindu-Muslim unity model followed by Congress, which I call Hindu-Muslim unity at Hindu cost. It was one-sided secularism, which was the main reason why partition happened. So, and today also, after, there is, you see, religious reconciliation can happen only if there is self-introspection.
Okay, everyone wants to respond to you, Tehseen Poonawala first. Righting historical wrongs, which is when reconciliation will happen. Yes, Tehseen Poonawala and then Mr. Verma. Yes.
Righting historical wrongs is a fundamental duty. So, sir, if I may please put my point across. I think we're both speaking over each other. If Uday sir finishes, I'll speak.
Go on, please.
Yeah. They say righting historical wrongs is a fundamental duty of the government, of the citizens of India. But righting historical wrongs should not become, and with due respect to you, water history. Let's come to each of the facts that you raised with respect to you. Number one, the POW Act 1991 that you said. Today, for the last 8 years, you have perhaps the most powerful Prime Minister in the universe, Shri Narendra Modi ji, with Amit Shah ji. Why don't they just throw the act out of Parliament? It is a 1 second job. They have a majority vote in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Forget that. Even in the Honorable Supreme Court, Tushar Mehta ji says orally that the act, what he agrees or disagrees. Sir, may I please? Sir, please, may I? Please, sir. With respect, sir, please. Even in Parliament, the union government has not put an affidavit. This is what I call running with the hare, hunting with the hound. Let's come to the second thing, and Pawanji and Ashutosh ji will bear with me. Muslims may have demolished, or Mughals may have demolished temples. I don't deny that. Similarly, there have been several stories of Buddhist monasteries being demolished, Jain temples being demolished. It is upon the government today to decide how far back in history do we want to go, 13th century, 12th century, 8th century, 7th century, or perhaps BCE. I leave that to the sovereign of the day to decide. But Udayji, when you say that this is a peculiar model of secularism, may I please ask you that this peculiar model of secularism encourages hate against one community? To be a good Hindu is to be like Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was the greatest living Hindu. Mahatma Gandhi did not espouse hate. Mahatma Gandhi took everybody along. In this particular government, and I say this with responsibility, hate is encouraged. Day in and day out, demonization of hate communities encouraged. It's encouraged from the top of the government.
But aren't these two separate issues?
No, they are.
Hate speech is being made and cultural renaissance is being carried out, Sumansi Raman. Two separate issues, and to conflate the two would be a disservice. Dr. Sumansi Raman.
Yeah, Padmaja, I've been very patiently listening to everyone. Give me a minute. See, fundamentally, we have to understand that a country will have to live in its present and not necessarily in the past. So while we should be proud of our culture, of our heritage, and I congratulate the Prime Minister for, renovating all these shrines, but to be seen to be renovating shrines exclusively of one faith in a secular country does not send the right message. That's point number one. Point number two, I want to ask these self-styled protectors of Hinduism, how has Hinduism survived over the centuries? Hinduism has survived in India over the centuries. It has survived brutality by various conquerors over the centuries. And it has survived. So this whole argument that we need to put down people of other faiths to sustain Hinduism and we are the protectors of Hinduism simply does not stand to reason. The most important point here is that for India as a nation, had the Prime Minister renovated a few major Christian sites, a few major Muslim heritage sites or worship sites, most certainly then it would have, this entire process would have been welcomed in a wholehearted manner by people of all faiths. This entire question is coming simply because the Prime Minister is single-mindedly focusing on the shrines. I have no problem with him focusing and renovating these shrines. They should have been done long back. But let's face it, his predecessors did do, none of them were, by the way, ashamed to visit temples. Pandit Nehru, I mean, there are so many photographs of Pandit Nehru. Indira Gandhi, the Congress party symbol is believed to come from the Hemambika temple in Palakkad. So I think that we have to understand that to say that everybody else was ashamed of visiting temples and they were hesitant and all that has changed, I don't think that is factual. The Gorakhnath temple near Mangalore, that was renovated by Rajiv Gandhi in 1991, in fact a few months before he was assassinated. So I think that these are, obviously the PR machine is in overdrive and I have no problem with that. My simple point is all faiths must be made to feel part of this project. And that is not happening.
PR machine is in overdrive, although it could be completely wrong, but locals in Banaras, in Ujjain, have borne testimony to the fact that there was a sense of, these temples were not treated the way that they should have been in the past. That's what locals say, but we could be completely wrong. Mr. Verma. Yes.
Some quick points, Padmaja. First of all, on the point that the Prime Minister identified of a sense of Heenta, I think it is a very important project of post-colonial societies. You know, you achieve political freedom, but the success of the colonizer is in colonizing your mind, and that takes decades to go. We are having this program in English. Perhaps one example is that on a lighter note. But I believe it's important. I have a book called The Great Hindu Civilization and another book called Becoming Indian, The Unfinished Revolution of Culture and Identity. So I think that is important. But apart from renovating temples, I want to know who is defining what is decolonization. If there are self-appointed Thekedars of Hinduism who say that a woman, as per our heritage, which we need to revive, needs to be dressed like a chaste Hindu Nari, and we will go against any woman in a Western dress or less than acceptable dress to their patriarchal notions. Is this decolonization?
Okay, Guru Prakash, the more specific allegation against your party is Hinduism has survived marauders, it has survived invaders, it has survived Mughals, it does not need the BJP to survive.
They want Mr. Modi to wear that Muslim cap.
Okay. Why? We will ask Ashutosh and Tehseen Poonawalla if they want that, but Guru Prakash respond to this.
He should wear that Muslim cap. That is their brand of secularism.
Okay, Ashutosh wants to respond. Just a second, Ashutosh, okay, your response. Ashutosh ji, your response.
Padmaja, I think Udayji is trying to redefine secularism by the call of genocides against Hindus, against Muslims. That's the kind. See, let me take it to the historical facts. I think for one.
No, I think that is unfair. To say that he's asking for genocide of Muslims is a very serious and a very unfair thing to say.
Open calls are given and no actions are taken against such people, and when Supreme Court intervenes, only then the actions are taken. So let me come to the other point.
Join debate with Ashutosh ji. He is so one-sided. There is no point in debating with him.
Udayji, please let me speak. I have a right to
I mean, we are talking about temples. He has brought in Bilkis Banu.
I can also,
I mean, what to say? There should be debate on Bilkis Banu. We will debate it.
Let me
why you are bringing Bilkis Banu here? We can have a separate debate on Bilkis Banu. Why not?
Let me complete, Mr. Udayji.
Your whole focus is on how to show a set of people as anti-Muslim, as...
Will you let me speak? Will you let me speak?
Okay, please finish.
I think when he was talking about 80% Muslims voting for the Muslim League, he has forgotten for a Jinnah there was Allah Rakha Khan. When the Pakistan resolution was passed in 1940, it is Allah Rakha Khan who organized the biggest ever Muslims rally against the partition and against Jinnah. Point number 2, Muslim League was in Shama Prasad Mukherjee, Hindu Mahasabha. They formed government with the Muslim League after the Pakistan declaration. Third point, when he was talking about the demolition of temples, demolition of temples
has been given several times.
In Gujarat, when the road was brought in, how many temples were demolished? Everybody knows that. Let me come, Srangeri Math. Tipu Sultan had renovated Srangeri Math when he was there, because who were those people who were demolishing them?
Guru Prakash, respond. Respond to the original question. Hinduism doesn't need BJP to survive.
It is your forte.
It has survived everything that Ashutosh just mentioned.
Distortion of history is your forte. Bringing Bilkis Banu in this debate.
Why are you so upset?
Distortion of debate.
Why are you so upset?
We are debating on a particular issue. You are bringing Gujarat. You are bringing Bilkis Banu. There are many things about Gujarat you are not speaking.
Okay. Okay, let's please steer this back to the original point of debate. Since we are talking about revival, renaissance and the politics behind it. BJP is not the sole proprietor of Hinduism, Hindutva or its survival or glorification. Guru Prakash.
110%, Padmaja, that I agree with you. It's the responsibility of entire country. But the problem is when this trivialization of debate happens. This trivialization of debate is happening when you're talking about lumpen cadres, you're talking about PR machinery. We should be talking about 40 World Heritage Sites. 40 World Heritage Sites. And 10 after 2014. We should be talking about a temple being built in UAE. We should be talking about a temple being built in Bahrain. We should be talking about temple being built in Panama. This is our soft power. This is our soft power. This is what we don't understand. When we should be talking about a rich culture and civilizational heritage, after 2014, we saw a monument in the name of Raja Suhel Dev, a Dalit saint. We saw a monument in the name of Sant Tukaram, a backward class saint. This was not happening before. This is important for our unity, for our culture and our civilization. The debate is misleading. When you say things like things are not being done for Muslims, points on secularism, this is just misleading and trivializing the entire culture and civilization.
Mr. Prakash and Mr. Verma, yes.
I would also like
quick rebuttal, please. Quick rebuttal, then Dr. Sumanti Raman. Yes.
Please, I would like
Padmaja, our calling card on soft power is really the fact that we are an inclusive and tolerant society. And I don't believe that, according to my friend Guru Prakash ji, that if we continue to build temples only abroad, it is an indication of our soft power. It does not mean to neglect Hindus. And let's put facts straight. There was widespread destruction of Hindu monuments and artifacts and centers of learning during Muslim rule. It's Muslim invasion. Don't distort history and try to gloss over facts, because that leads to a backlash.
No, that is a very important point by Pawan Verma ji, and I have a great amount of respect for him. But we also need to understand, sir, that when we are supplying vaccines to more than 120 countries, is that not our soft power? When more than 10 countries have given the Bharat Ratna-like awards, topmost civilian honor to the Honorable Prime Minister, is this not our soft power, sir? When International Yoga Day is accepted globally, is it not our soft power, sir? We have to understand that this is the source of our soft power, our culture, our civilization, our inclusive policies. We have, for the first time in our history of our country, an Adivasi woman at the highest constitutional office. Is that not a soft power, sir? For the first time in our history, we have such a powerful Prime Minister for an OBC community. Is it not a soft power of our country? We have to understand. Let's just keep our prejudices and our biases away and then look at it from the issue perspective.
So, Dr. Sumanti Raman, look at the bigger picture and the statement being made by India worldwide.
Padmaja.
Yes, Dr. Raman.
Padmaja, No, Udayji made two quick points. He said that, I think it was him who said that, they are trying to make Mr. Modi wear a Muslim cap. As the Prime Minister of the country, several past Prime Ministers have worn the Muslim caps. They've worshipped at churches, they've gone to temples, and they've gone to masjids. And I don't think any of them, changed their religion or became any less Hindu because they did all these things. Millions of people across the country do all of that. I go to churches, I go to dargahs, I go to temples. It does not mean that is making me less Hindu because I went to another place of worship. Why are we in this mindset? Why does he say they are trying to make Mr. Modi wear a Muslim?
Let's stick to the main issue. But Mr. Mahurkar answered this. Today the specific question asked is, great, आपने महाकाल corridor बनाया, आपने वाराणसी में corridor बनाया, you have done what you did for temples across the country. Why not the same gesture for places of worship of Christians, of Jains, of Muslims, of Sikhs? Why not extend the same courtesy to everyone? India is a secular country and everyone respects their places of worship.
It is being done. It is. If you look at the cultural ministry's work, that is also being done. Who says it is not being done? Tell me one thing, what Prime Minister has done in Mahakaleshwar. Now see the history of Mahakaleshwar. The temple was demolished by Iltutmish in 1234. Then for 500 years, Hindu used to build it and it used to get demolished again. Now in 1734, Ranuj Scindia and his Diwan Ramchandra Baba Suktankar, they did the Jinodhar of Mahakaleshwar and all the other temples which were in a most neglected state over a period of 4 or 5 centuries. Now, Modi has done it in a span of just 1 year or 2 years. Why Congress could not do it? Let them answer.
Why could Congress not do it?
Could not do Kashi corridor?
Okay, why could Congress not do it?
The problem, Udayji, is that he's very selective with facts. He has forgotten that in history, when Sringeri Mutt was demolished,
then who are you?
Shankaracharya ran away from there.
Are you non-selective?
And he wrote 36 letters to whom? Tipu Sultan.
Are you non-selective?
And Tipu Sultan.
You are calling me selective. Are you non-selective?
Again is disturbing. Again is disturbing.
Tipu Sultan was a temple breaker for the first 10 years of his life. He became secular only when the Marathas and the British really...
Okay, one by one, please, Mr. Mahurkar, one by one. Yes, Ashutosh, finish.
He has demolished hundreds of temples in Malabar.
I want to know, does he know?
It is on record. Go to ask any Malayali in Kerala. He'll tell you.
Please, let's bring order back. Let Mr. Ashutosh finish, sir, then I'll come back to you.
So I'm saying, but they will paint a different picture of Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan, who renovated with every resources available, and Shankaracharya, he had given asylum to Shankaracharya. 36 letters are there in records. So the fact is, yes, Tipu Sultan also demolished temples, but Tipu Sultan also renovated temples.
Sir, we were talking about the politics. The question asked of you was, why could the Congress not do what has been done in the last 8 years? That was it. We're not talking about Tipu Sultan over here.
So when Somnath temple was built, and who were the leaders? Who are
okay, Tehseen Poonawalla also wants to come in. Tehseen Poonawalla.
Rajendra Prasad did not belong to RSS. Sardar Patel did not belong to RSS. Mahatma Gandhi did not belong to RSS.
But when Rajendra Babu was going to Somnath, Nehruji didn't like it.
So who are they? Do they belong to RSS? Do they belong to Hindu Mahasabha? They were Congress leaders. And it was built during the Congress. Okay. But BJP want to demonize Jawaharlal Nehru.
Okay, Tehseen Poonawalla, and then I really must bring in Mr. Verma as well. Tehseen Poonawalla.
Thank you, Padmaja, for finally coming to me. But just 2 or 3 very important historical facts. The temple that Udayji mentioned about in the UAE, beautiful temple inaugurated by the Honorable current Prime Minister of India. But I quote Times of India, the land was given during Manmohan Singh Ji's time when Manmohan Singh Ji was in the UAE. The land for the temple was allotted when Manmohan Singh Ji was Prime Minister. Is Manmohan Singh Ji and UPA also anti-Hindu? Let's not get into that. Everything that's done in this country happened after 2014, after Shri Narendra Modi was Prime Minister. Udayji said, I, as an Indian, may want Prime Minister Modi, my Prime Minister, to wear a Muslim skull cap or a Muslim topi. No, I just want my Prime Minister to आप किसी को टोपी मत पहनाओ, आप टोपी पहनो ना पहनो ये आपकी मर्जी. मेरी बात समाप्त होने दो. मैं बहुत समय के बाद आया हूँ, प्लीज मेरी बात समाप्त होने दो. Look, the fact of the matter is, Indian Renaissance will happen culturally. It should happen. It will continue to happen. And congratulations for that. But Indian Renaissance is not merely the Renaissance of, say, temples being built or mosques being built or churches being renovated. Indian Renaissance will happen when we as Indians will become the most powerful nation in the world where every Indian lives with dignity. Dignity is not when the government of India encourages lumpen elements to create...
But sir, with due respect, the two are not mutually exclusive. It's not as if somebody is saying, I cease to give you PDS and I'm going to only keep building temples.
I'll give you 40, just allow me 40 seconds and I'll give you the answer to that. And the gentleman that Udayji keeps quoting, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who the BJP generally accords as one of the most devout Hindus, which he was. Let me quote from a letter Rajendra Prasad ji writes on 12th December 1948, point number 5 to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And in his letter, and I quote Rajendra Babu, he writes, the RSS is a fascist, violent organization practicing secret methods to transform India.
Okay.
This is what Rajendra Prasad thought about these people.
All right.
They did not
final closing comment to Guru Prakash, since you have again stirred a hornet's nest by quoting Dr. Rajendra Prasad on RSS. Final closing words. Guru Prakash.
Padmaja, the closing words is a very brief one. Just for your viewers, was it possible 10 years ago to have a panel debate like this on temple, culture and civilization of India? No. अगर आज ये माहौल बना है, ये वातावरण बना है कि तहसीन पूनावाला और आशुतोष जी भी मंदिरों के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं, मुझे लगता है कि ये हमारी संस्कृति की जीत है. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
All right, let's end it on that amicable note. That being said, I think the best judges will be people of the country about whether this is purely a political move or a larger civilizational message is being sent. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for joining me. Have a great Diwali.
News Hour at 10. We'll be right back after the break. The News Hour at 10.
Supreme Court has agreed to hear a fresh plea moved by a women's organization challenging the remission of sentence and the release of convicts in the 2002 Bilkis Bano gang rape case. Hours after surrendering in court in the Arms Act case, gangster turned politician Mukhtar Ansari's son Abbas Ansari gets bail. PDP President Mehbooba Mufti has been served a notice to vacate her official bungalow in the high-security Gupkar area in Srinagar. The hearing on the bail plea of Shiv Sena Uddhav camp leader and MP Sanjay Raut has been adjourned. Next hearing will be heard on November 2. In a corruption case filed by CBI, former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh's bail plea has been rejected by a special CBI court.
The News Hour at 10. We'll be right back after the break.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, a free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
आपको सब फिल्म स्टार ही चाहिए मथुरा में।
नहीं हेमा
कन्हैया जी ने भक्त जैन जी कल राखी सावंत का फिल्म देंगे। He will also become.
You're watching The News Hour at 10.
A special magistrate court in Mumbai has directed the police to execute a non-bailable warrant